That's all right. Yeah. Once you go to the beach and that. Let's go. Why it's not. There you go. Should be the experience from the so I'll figure it out. Sometimes it's nice. That's it, that makes sense. Makes them all look good. That's never been gifted. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I usually have to take them as they come in, so,
How do you, structure shows?
we'll figure it out together. Hold with me. Okay, I am turning the volume on.
Thank you. I know I'm both. I can say that one.
Being 6:30, I call a meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. If you would like to speak to the council, please fill out the form and hand it to Shannon. Please indicate on the form if you wish to speak during the discussion on a specific agenda item. Remember, council members are not allowed to answer questions during public participation. Please remember to state your name and address for the record. Shannon?
Thank you, Mayor. We have quite a few that have signed up for tonight, and I think they're all here for the same reason, so I'm gonna go through and find Tin House so he can come up first, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Mayor and Council, I'm Tim House. I'm here for the Bartonville store, 96 McBacon Road, Bartonville, Texas. I'm here tonight for the same reason I came in January, which was to request that y'all put me on the agenda, not just me, but the McBacon Road businesses, what's designated as the Old Town area of Bartonville, on the agenda to consider sewer service. As you know, do you have that graphic I gave you? Well, I tell you what, it's not necessary.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
There is a sewer line that was installed to serve us, a part of the agreement with Lantana District and the Lantana developer. It was meant to serve 3 areas. One was the Marty B's area, which is Old Town Center. The second is the Kroger area, and the third was the existing businesses on McBacon Road. There has been concern expressed that the McBacon Road businesses need to be deleted and not allowed to connect to that service because it could jeopardize the town's ability to control development. We believe that that is not the case at all. We'd like the chance to show you why we believe that from an engineering standpoint, from a legal standpoint, from a Lantana district standpoint, that it should not be a concern. And we'd like to show you that and hope that you see that you can still protect the town, protect the rural environment, and let these businesses have what would help them operate more efficiently. We're aware, obviously, that there's a segment of the population in Bartonville that feels that if we hook on to the line that's in front of our property, it's gonna jeopardize the ability of the town to control future development. You know, we really agreed with Keep Bartonville Country, the whole concept. We don't think this is in violation of that or contrary to it. And we're asking for the chance to talk to you about that, have it put on an agenda spot and demonstrate to you why we believe that's the case. I think a simple amendment to the town sewer ordinance could take care of our concern and could actually strengthen the town's ability to control development density. And it'd be a win-win for the town and for the businesses. I had a real good presentation, but I never follow it when I get going. But I want to thank you for considering it. And when I expressed this desire before to have a meeting to talk about this type of stuff, I've been told the town doesn't want it. The residents of the town don't want it. That's why we're voting against it. There's a lot of residents in town who do want it. And I've asked a few of them to come to just help explain their positions on this too. But to a man, we want to keep Bartonville country. Thank you.
Kathy Dahlem.
Kathy Dawn, 1590 Post Oak Lane, Bartonville, Texas 76226. Yes, and I'm one of those that don't want it. Okay, I live on the outskirts of the town and it would affect me probably more than it would affect anyone. And if you give them sewer, I do believe it opens a can of worms you do not want to open. I do not believe that it's for just the benefit of those few businesses. I think, because I can tell you right now that my neighbor's gonna come to you and she's gonna want to change her last couple acres down here into commercial property. I've already had that conversation with her, and I don't even know if that's possible or not, but it's one of those cans of worms that you just do not want to open. Okay, it's been voted down, I don't know how many times, the demographics of Bartonville have not changed, we still want to keep Bartonville rural, and I just think that, now is not the time or the place for it. So, I'm very strongly against that, but I live right on the outskirts, and a lot of these people that live on the inner part of Bartonville will not be affected by it, and I could see if he says people in Bartonville are for it, those are the people that would be for it, the people that would not have to live their life around all that extra commercial property. We set up commercial development in a specific area for that, and that's just where it needs to stay, in my opinion. I'm all about keeping Bartonville rural. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mary Rock.
Terry Rock, 1408 East Cheater Road, Bartonville, of course. I'm a newbie to Bartonville. I've only been here 30+ years. So, no, I am here to support the Tim and the businesses. There are a million reasons that would be the best thing for the town and for the people in the town. I strongly support it. And I'll let the rest of them give their own opinion, but years ago, when we had this thrown at us, people would come up to me and say, well, we can't put that, and we can't let them go on the sewer that's already there because it'll go all the way through the town. Those people were totally misinformed. The sewer that's there doesn't have the capacity to do anything like that. It is a very small pipe compared to what we would need to have for the city of Bartonville. The second thing is, last time I had somebody even give a ballpark on what it would cost to put sewer in Bartonville, it was over $20 million. I don't think any of us want to spend $20 million for a sewer, but the one that's right in front easily can be only for those people, and it's a simple fix, solves a lot of problems for the city and a lot of problems for the businesses. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce your last name again, Marilyn Youngkin, thank you.
I'm Marilyn Yankee, and my husband and I own 74 McMakin, which is one of the businesses, the pediatric and the dental office. I'm here to ask you to please allow us to present the information that will help us get to. Just recently, we had a septic problem, and it did shut down the businesses for about 24 hours or so, and you guys know, you've been in business, you can't shut down a business very long without really hurting. So we would really like to have a sewer. And I totally agree with Bartonville. I think it's one of the most beautiful places around here. And as long as you guys keep your 2 acre to, I understood 5 acre allotment of land for that, you're not gonna have any problem with having it become less rural. And I grew up on a farm in a rural community, and I love it. And this area is beautiful. I have no desire to interrupt that. Thank you.
Pat Adams.
Pat Adams, 1221 Glenview Lane, obviously Bartonville. And we've been comparing notes. I've been here 38 years, so we both been long-term residents. I would tell you that having lived through the last council and mayor and getting to this council and mayor has been a godsend. And part of that is their huge commitment to keeping Bartonville rural. I've heard the businesses and I get it. I understand. I know also that when you went into business, you knew how that worked. And I appreciate your concerns. I'm more concerned about keeping us rural. We worked very hard on that and continue to work on it. I would tell you, you say $20 million, there are plenty of developers that would throw that down together. So once we let it come across the road, then all bets are off. I think it's a really bad idea. I thought it from the beginning and I still do. So I'm very opposed to that happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Catherine Taylor.
Hi, Catherine Taylor. My husband and I own the 64 McMakin property, and obviously we're here in support of it, and for maybe a couple of different reasons. I understand the Keep Bartonville Beautiful Committee is doing a fabulous job. No one disagrees with that. We want to keep Bartonville rural as well. We don't need the growth to support our businesses. But we do think there's a very serious misconception on the information. That seems to be the general knowledge, is that people think that once it moves across the road, then it's going to allow for this grand expansion. And what the information that Tim has uncovered, that I would venture most of you aren't really fully informed on the limitations of the system that's in place, not only from the pipe size, but also from the water, what's the water companies? The water district. It's limited on who it can support, and the pipe was put in there specifically for our businesses back in the day when it was developed. So the idea that it could move on is really not a valid argument. But from my perspective, I will say that we want it for a couple of reasons. Not just the financial cost that we have had to expel as a result of this septic system. We've spent over $200,000 over the years maintaining this system, but it's also caused a tremendous amount of animosity with our neighbors. It's been a serious bone of contention, just the maintenance of the system and the challenges that we have run into. And we think that just from creating a cohesive community, doing away with that barrier and the problems that we have had would just do wonders in helping to mend those relations. The idea that any of the businesses along this area and the tracks that are shown here could expand is not possible. We can't expand. We can't suddenly come in and put in high-rise apartments or whatever the fear is, because there's no capacity for that sort of thing, and we don't want to do that. So it's just a matter of allowing us to manage the businesses more efficiently, allowing us to keep good relations, maintain good relations with the neighbors. And then there's the other aspect that's not really widely talked about, is the sanitation aspect of it. We have 34 sinks in our facility, and all of that water is just being expelled across the waterway that's there, instead of being recycled and being put to use. So just from the sanitation perspective, I think that's worth considering, and worth considering how we manage and recycle the water that's used in the community. I don't think that's something that's talked about, but it's a lot of water that's poured onto that field, very close to the waterway, which in my mind, would be better served going into the sewer system. So that's part of it from our perspective. Oh, and I'm out of time. Thank you very much. We hope you at least let us present the argument so that everybody's fully informed and present the case in full. We would appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Brenda, Stevenage. Sorry.
Brenda Waite-Stenovich, 1501 East Jeter Road, Bartonville. Tim, love your restaurant. Totally don't want to not support you, but I cannot support this. I also live very close. I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about this, so I would love to know more, but from things I know is that once you give an inch, it just keeps going. And there is no guarantee that one little amendment legally protects our city from not letting the next property owner and the next property owner and the next property owner have it, because then you can't deny it. And it is also my understanding, which may be false, but that the city never even approved for that to go under and across the road. So I would love to know if that were true or not, that was just done by a person that didn't have the authority to actually have that done. So anyway, I have to strongly oppose this.
Thank you.
Jim Langford.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, Jim Langford, 1044 East Jeter Road, Bartonville. We've been here since 1987, so we're going on 39 years. Raised our family and would not live anywhere else. We've been very happy with Bartonville. My town appreciation paperweight that I got from being on council shows my service to the town of Bartonville from 1989 to 2011 in various positions, town council and on committees and chairman of committees. So I want to thank each of you, one of you, for doing the same thing, using your time and your talents to help Bartonville. Sewer service throughout our town should never happen. Period. End of conversation. However, that service existing to the Macon businesses should happen. The service line is already there to be used only by those few businesses, and the line cannot be extended because of capacity limitations. I would ask that when that time does come and discussions concerning this go on the agenda, that you approve the same services to those few businesses on Macon Road as you have already been approved and are being used by the set of businesses in the Bartonville Town Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
George Dunham.
Good evening, George Dunham. I live on 103 Burley Court, Bartonville. And like a number of people said tonight, I moved here because I wanted a rural setting. And I make a point, I work in Dallas, radio station. And every day when I make my trip home, I make purposeful trip down McMakin and take a left on Jeter, go right by the Bartonville store, drive through the pastures and swear that there's a guy that's still fishing every day on Jeter. And, I love this place. But I love what has been done just right around the corner here, right next door. The Bartonville store is a historical monument. It's been here since the 1880s. The infrastructure is already there to help that business, the business park, the daycare. And it's not infringing. I'll sign an agreement right now that will say I'll do septic for as long as I live in Bartonville. And I would love to live in Bartonville for the rest of my life. This is a gathering place right next door for our community. And yeah, there's live music there, and there's food, and there's cold drinks, but it's where our community gathers. And we've had fundraisers there for the Shoot for the Stars Foundation, for flood relief, for Texas neighbors, tornado victims, for Serve Denton, so families could have food and toys at Christmas time. And it's where our community gathered and did something meaningful. There's been weddings, rehearsal dinners, a memorial service next door. And yet this business and the daycare, dentist office, the business park, they're not allowed to have the same convenience as their neighbors just right down the road. And this is a business, it is not a residence. This will not, we need to stop the fear tactics, not only in this town, but across our country. Well, if you let this happen, then all sorts of bad things are gonna happen. I'll tell you one good thing that'll happen. When Raised Right Men or Cody Jinks play the Bartonville store on Saturday night, when you walk out in the parking lot, you won't think you're in a cow pasture. You won't have to worry about that anymore, because it is a much more sanitary option for infrastructure that is already there. And yeah, it's been 150 years that place has been there. It's now 2026. I don't think we need to have the same structure when it comes to waste management that we did in the 1800s. I think we need to update that with respect to where we live in Bartonville. It has nothing to do with that and keeping us rural. I want the best for Bartonville, and the best for Bartonville is to let these businesses have modern convenience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Pittman.
Hi, Laura Pittman, 1227 Post Oak Court, Bartonville, of course, Dunn Street. I just have one thing to say: no, 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 and no. You know, I think that I live in one of the subdivisions that it would affect the most, and they can say all they want that it won't affect us, but it will. And they knew they were not going to get sewer when they moved in. That was not promised to them. So I don't know why now this keeps coming up. I feel like we're being bullied. But it's, you know, they keep wanting to bring it before us. No, we don't want it. So I know that you have at least 5 emails from my neighbors saying no. So if we'd have had more time, you'd have had this whole place full of people saying no. So that's all I've got to say. But just look as Argyle's a cautionary tale.
Thank you.
James Feldman.
Okay, fine.
Hello, Dennis Tillman of 124 McMankin Road, the building on the corner that has multiple tenants. We did buy the building knowing that there was a limitation on what we currently could do. But also that there was a line out front that one day we might be able to use that to facilitate a more sanitary option than we have now. If you look at your current codes, one of the big things that's in a lot of the ordinances that spells out pretty clearly is the big reason to have the lines that we do is for sanitation, is to make sure that the flies are not able to get into anything and to keep groundwater from being contaminated. Well, the best option for that is to use the sewer line. that's out front. It would definitely get rid of a lot of the concerns about odor and different things going on in the backside of our buildings. And I would love to have that go away. Expenses, right now, we don't have to redo our system, it's not that big. But for everybody else, it's a limited engagement, it's a limited service, it's not even offered by the town. The town is not involved with the discharge of it. All utilities are done by a vendor on the outside. So really, that would be another obstacle that would be in the town, or another stopping point to have it continue on. I love the small town feel. I personally live on 2 acres myself. I love it. I like having people that are, everybody's encouraged to take care of their own place. And if we have to do it, I'm fine, but I'd rather have the sewer line. And, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jim Carter?
Council, it's an honor to be here tonight, and let me just say, I think this whole situation could be wrapped up in one word that we would consider it, and that's equality. You've got businesses here that have storage, and they're able to stay open 7 days a week if they want to. Tim's only able to stay open 4 days a week, 5 days a week, excuse me, and that causes something else. He also has to have a tile fill that takes 30 car spaces away from his business. He also has, that in that tile fill, there's an odor to it, as mentioned before, and that's a problem. And let me just tell you, I served Bartonville for 8 years as county commissioner, and I love this place. And it's always, 18 years of home for me here as well. But I work with developers every day. And let me say, who pays for, when a developer develops property, who pays for the sewer that's installed in that house? It's not the developer. It's the builder. So you won't have developers turning away from Bartonville because of additional cost, because there's no cost to development. It's a development that really a matter. Somebody put that water, that storage main in that property several years ago for a purpose. That purpose has never been utilized. It's time to move forward with that. And I don't see any detriment to the Bartonville staying rural by having a sewer. You've got one now. What you do is expanding what you have. Council, but your duty is to do what's best for all your residents. And that is, you'll never have a resident wanting to put sewage all over Bartonville. The cost would be out of sight. It would tear up every road and streets that you have in the town. And would be a 10-year project, so no option would happen. But this is right next door to Bartonville, to the Bartonville store. It's in the street right there. Thank you very much. Great night.
Corey Van Trees?
You, Madam Mayor, and council members. My name is Corey Van Trees. My wife Vanessa and I live at 479 Porter Road, frequently known as the red tree at Christmas time. And as I've sat here and listened to both sides of this issue tonight, it seems like there are some extreme opinions and maybe misinformation on both sides. And as I understand it, what is being requested is the opportunity to present facts. Is this line, if these businesses were to tie onto this line, is that the end of it? And that would achieve the capacity and nothing else could be added? I'm in the development business and I know how difficult it is to work with cities and towns to try to make something like this happen on a much larger scale. It is a daunting prospect, especially if you have 3/4 of the city against you. I would never attempt such a thing. We moved here for all the same reasons that everybody else did. We love the rural atmosphere. We keep moving. We've gone from Louisville to Flower Mound to Bartonville, getting further out because we love this idea of the ruralness. But it's hard for me to understand the argument that a business doesn't benefit. It's not better for the community for a business to be hooked up to a sewer. And so I would just like to offer, what would be wrong with listening to a presentation and digging in to the facts of the case? I mean, this is a factual matter. This is not a matter of opinion. So we ought to be able to get down to the science of it and figure out, can the line only support these businesses? Yes or no? If you get to that point, then there can be a vote, then there can be a discussion, then it can possibly make it to a vote agenda. But right now, the request is simply to find that answer out. I don't know what's wrong with finding out the right answer, because once we have the correct answer, yes, no, maybe the line can be expanded forever and ever. That would probably bring an end to all of us. My question is, what is wrong with finding out the real answer? I'd like to make that appeal. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That is the end of my list. I think Mr. House wanted to do a conclusion. Are you,
Actually, I'd like to, but Marty B provided a letter to the mayor, I know. And are you gonna read it, or George will read it? If you
I'm
want?
gonna read it in just a moment after everybody speaks.
I think there's several emails
Yes.
to read.
Yeah, no, then.
Then you're fine, okay. Or,
Yeah, thank you.
Sharon, you said you received some emails?
I received 10 emails against this, and then I have one in support, and that's the one from Marty B.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me just a couple seconds to respond. Again, I want to emphasize, we're not talking about extending a line, we're talking about accessing the line that's put into service. Now, I know good and well that if this gets on a regular agenda, it's gonna be crowdful here. Know that the people who support us hooking up will fill the place, and I know that the people who oppose us hooking up will fill the place, so we may have to find another place. But it should not be a matter of who brings the most people. That could be a real battle for everybody, put you guys in a tough situation. Mr. Van Tree's talking about it, let's get the real information rather than what's been put out for years. I think that's the key. We've got engineering information, we've got legal opinion, we've got the Lantana District's opinion. We just like the chance to present all that to you. And I appreciate you letting me wrap it up in that way, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I'll read the emails that we've received. First one's from Marty Bryan, Marty B's Restaurant and County Restaurant. Dear Mayor and council members, I had intended to be at this council meeting tonight to support the request by the Bartonville store and the other Old Town businesses. But when the meeting date changed, it conflicts with a special event I'm hosting at Marty B's. Nonetheless, the purpose of this letter is to state my position on this matter. It is my understanding that Tim House made a request at the January council meeting for this issue put on the next council agenda, but the council opted not to consider it. I have had a business here in Bartonville for almost 9 years and believe and feel that town has always been fair and mostly respectful of my intentions and business ventures. In the time that I have been here, there has always been a negative connotation of allowing sewer tie-in off McMakin. The reasons I have been given is that it sets a precedent for potential sewer connection down the road for further development. However, the town can control this by drafting an ordinance update SUP or any, thank you, of the other options at their disposal to prevent further expansion. The good news, we are talking about existing businesses that want to connect, not new development. It is my belief and the reason most folks don't want to allow the sewer tie-in for the existing businesses along with Macon is because they don't understand the options the town has to prevent it from expanding further. I am confident that with the right civil engineer, attorney, in collaboration with P and Z and council, that positive measures could be taken to provide a favorable result for both the town, residents, and business community affected. The McMakin Road Old Town businesses constitute a significant part of the town's commercial base, and the Bartonville store is historically the reason the town started. I think it would be pretty cool for the town to stop avoiding the issue and face it head on in a respectful manner to provide some reasonable solutions so that everyone wins, which I would think is the goal. I love this town and community and feel very fortunate to live and work here. I am most appreciative of the council and mayor for serving the community, as I know it can be a very thankless job. What you do matters and builds further community within our amazing town. Let's all put our heads together and work out a great solution for sewer connection. I know we can do it. With the utmost respect, Marty Bryant. And the emails I received this afternoon. First one from James Pittman at 1237 Post Oak Court, Bartonville, Texas. I am against sewer at Jeter's Bartonville Food Store or anywhere. Next one, LaDonna Forringer at 1451 Post Oak Lane. Please note that we are against sewer at Bartonville Store and Bartonville in general. I believe these businesses knew we were on septic when land was purchased. Keep Bartonville rural. Denise Jenkins, 1554 Post Oak Lane, Bartonville. I am opposed to the sewer at Bartonville Store. Adrian and Kathy Arnold at 1240 Post Oak Court, Bartonville. We are against sewers in Bartonville. Sydney Forringer at 1413 Post Oak Lane, Bartonville. I'm opposed to sewer being added to the Bartonville store. When they bought the property, they knew we were on septic. Please keep Bartonville rural. Do not allow sewer. Mariana Forringer, 1451 Post Oak. I'm opposed to the sewer being added to the Bartonville store. When they bought the property, they knew we were on septic. Please keep Bartonville rural. Do not allow sewer. Troy and Corey Bonin. Ms. Mayor and Council, Corinne and I are very much opposed to the idea of creating and allowing a city sewer system. We currently live in the Green Oaks neighborhood and have the aerobic system, septic system, just like the rest of the residents in Bartonville. 10 years ago, we moved to Bartonville because of the quiet country aspect. I really would like us to keep the town in this type of setting. I vote to not allow the city sewer to be an option. Trevor and Ella Buck, 158 Green Oaks Drive, emailing to say we are opposed to sewer at Bartonville store. Ralph and Christine Adams at 250 Penn Oak Court. Hello, Bartonville Town Secretary and Bartonville Town Administrator. We do not support any sewer in Bartonville. We are against it. Keep Bartonville country, please. That is all the emails that I have received today.
Thank you, Shannon, appreciate it. Appointed representative layout on report. Number 1, Denton County Emergency Service, Chief Vaughn.
Evening, Mayor, Captain, thank you for having me. Just wanted to kind of report on for January. I wanted to kind of talk about the winter storm we had. Hard to believe it a couple of weeks ago. It was in the teens and almost 0 degrees. So we did fare pretty well. January was our busiest January of all time. We had a very busy month, but we did have weather-related emergencies, but it really wasn't as bad as we thought we were. I think we were very blessed that we didn't have any power outages. That was a huge thing. That really helped. We did get a lot of slips and falls. People do get kind of cabin fever. They want to get out and check their mail. They fall, and of course we had wrecks and people sliding off the roads. But none of the serious frozen pipes. Some a little bit here and there, but not too much. And I think also the fact that we had sleet instead of freezing rain. When you had freezing rain, it gets on the power lines, weighs down, it gets on the trees fall over, hit the power lines. You can imagine what happens after that. So I think we're just really blessed, but overall, I think we were busy, but not as bad as it could have been. Again, January was pretty busy. It's actually our busiest January ever. So that's just that kind of a common theme in our district. So if you recall last month, I did send you an interview report. You will be getting a more thorough annual report, showing financials and more than just the data that you get each month. I will say something about our report. It has changed. If you notice our monthly report, the state we're now using it's called the National Emergency Response Information System. It's basically our reporting system. It's changed across the country and the states. We started that in January. The problem is it kind of changes the database on how we count our numbers. So it's going to look a little differently in the future. But we're able to make that work. Just to kind of let you know what that does, the national reporting system that we use for power reports. So let's say you have your washer and dryer catches on fire. Well, when we document that in our reporting, we put the serial numbers, and that goes into a national database. And so if there's a recall, they're going to recall. So the new system is much more robust. There's some AI stuff. There's some analytics that wasn't there. So it's something that's been actually pushed by the U.S. Fire Administration. So it's something that's being pushed at the national level. So probably just calling us to change the reporting. The reporting also is much more disaster based. So it has a segment there you'll see now about law enforcement. How many times did we work with law enforcement, which we notated it, but we notated it differently. So if you see the numbers and it looks different, that's probably why, but I just want to let you know about that. Again, we will be sending out our annual report next month. You should be getting that by the next meeting. Couple of things, we did get our new ambulances. We have 2 new replacement ambulances coming. One is for station 514 out in Bartonville, and the other one will be for the new station in North Lake. Speaking of that, we did go and do a site visit of the new station. It is planning to be, I think it'll be ready by June 1st. That's what we're looking at. I don't want to hold my breath on that. Some of the other trials we've had with some of the construction and with the process of the state, but so far so good with that. And then lastly, we've also, just this past month, we went to safety conference. It's something we go to every year. We learned about, if you didn't know, there's over 300 now there's 360 EST emergency service districts across the state of Texas. And so they're growing. And so there's a conference every year we'll go and get trained about it. And in the last couple of years, we've actually been going and teaching classes. So it's a good way to kind of network and learn other ESPs and talk to them about how they do things. And so, other than that, been a good month. We ended the year really well. We ended up over 3,900 calls for the year, which was about almost 1.5% more, which was a lot better the year before. Last year, before that, we were like 18%. So, over the last 3 years, we've increased our call volume by about 24%. So we're definitely growing, and we're managing that well in our strategic plan. So I'll keep brief on the agenda, so I'll take any questions.
No questions.
Thank you.
Police Department, January 2026 statistics and activity, Chief Riggs.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Our calls for service, we had 105 calls for service in January. We did have 12 accidents, as you know. Last month I presented, we had a 40% increase in accidents. 10 of those accidents were on 407, as we know, that's where the majority are. And I think I sent y'all some stats on that. Hilltop is number 1. I think Councilman Sam's asked, and then Branch Crossing. So we did have more accidents. It's still low. That's, not bad, 12. If you go down to our uniform crime report, we had 3. 2 of them were larcenies and 1 was a human trafficking situation. Basically what it was sorry, let me get down to my notes. It was a sextortion kind of call that we were investigating. And then we had, let's see, on self-initiated activity, we had 244 building checks, close patrols. We had traffic complaints, radar enforcement 79, and we had traffic stops 241. And we had walk through a business, we had 18 for a total of 582. I did mention that we did have those 2 Part 1 crimes. We were down Part 1 crimes. We had 31 last year. I think we had 20 this past year. So our Part 1 crimes are very low, which is nice. Officers completed advanced handgun training in January, or spent 2 days. Basically, what they were training were the optics. We purchased the optics for them for new weapons. They also had the lights We did some low light training. And then the optics were also, all our officers are carrying those now. That's a popular thing amongst officers now with, I'm old school. I still use the iron sight. I'm gonna stick with that. But anyway, we did offer that to them. They're excited about that new transition. Everyone scored very well. And then we also, our AEDs were very old. And we actually went with a company that we got a contract, so we replaced all our ADAs, the company's ADA 123. All our squads have new ADAs, and then we also have a new one just down the hall. So that's the end of my report. If y'all have any questions at all, I'll be happy to answer those.
Do you think the reason the crime's down because of visibility?
You know, I think that, you know, you can't calculate that, but I will say, I think our white cars, I think we're out there a lot. I think it does deter crime. When you see a squad car driving around Kroger or driving around those areas where they're easily further motor vehicles, whatever. So yes, ma'am, I do believe, can I calculate that in measurements? No, but I do believe that anytime you have that high visibility, and that's what you do in law enforcement, you know, they call them, you just go basically, if you have a crime area, you can put more cops there. So I do believe our crime rate going down and our calls for service going down are a direct factor on our officers being out there at high visibility. And y'all allowing us to add us that other officer that is out there predominantly as traffic as enforcement, but we have several officers, and I do believe that that be a reason for that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I can tell you, I'm gonna pass this on to you from some students I heard them. The one thing they would appreciate is increased visibility to the community. Cause keep telling them they see you 2-3 times a day. And they also see you out there and they wonder who's out there driving that black car. Doesn't have either. You know, we do good there and I appreciate, and they certainly appreciate the visibility of the officers being out there. Cause I know that makes a big difference to citizens.
Thank you. We do have a great group of officers that to hire, so.
Yes, you do. Thank you.
Regarding the accidents at Hilltop Tractor Supply.
Mhm.
Have we reached out to TxDOT for them to look into that of in the light, or are we planning to do that, or?
Yes, sir. After our last meeting, I did reach out to them. I think I sent y'all an email. I'll give you an update. They actually were out there, I think, doing some traffic study. They had the calculator going with how many. So that's my belief. They're looking at that. But yes, sir, I did reach out to TxDOT. I haven't heard anything back officially, but I'll keep y'all updated and see where we go with that.
Yeah, I really need to get like yours.
Yeah, it's
Really
it's
dangerous.
it's really, you take the life in your own hand, you turn left on the 407 there, so.
Them not having the easy access out to 407 to go north from Tractor Supply without having to go through that intersection, that really bottlenecks it up. But thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. Administration, Shannon?
Thank you, Mayor. As we started last month, where I'm giving you this, screenshot of our reserve bank account. We are in month 4 of this fiscal year. You do see on your slide that the bank, balance on January 31st was $844,428. We did have interest, added in January, and then also I checked the bank and yesterday, February interest was in there, and that amount was $2,686.42. So as of today's balance for the reserve account is $847,114.63. So we are growing. Next page, we start with all general fund revenues. Bank balances as of today for general fund was $4,444,505.96. Revenue collected in January totaled $546,881.80, representing an increase of $59,557 compared to this time last year.
Are you on page 22, Shannon?
I don't have a page number.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So far, I also did look at the bank, and so far for February, for property tax, we have earned in February alone $370,624.83. So To add of today, total property taxes collected for this fiscal year is $1,186,566.89. So they are coming in. They'll start tapering off because January was the deadline, and so people will start being paid, having to pay penalties. But we will make our budget for that. And the next slide is your sales tax 12-month rolling average. The town's portion of sales tax revenue received in January 2025, which is reflecting the November of received in 2026 of January, reflecting November 2025 of sales activity totaled $68,031.31. This brought the 12-month average to $83,238, which was an increase of $555 from the prior month. We're hanging in there. The next page is all general fund expenditures. Total expenditures from general fund for January, we spent $161,551. Leaving an overall budget remaining of $69.70, which is aligned to we're trying to use 8.3% of the budget each month, so we're right there on target. You have any questions on this page? Yeah. Then the expenditures by department administration alone. Administration recorded expenditures of $72,205.20 in January. Leaving an overall remaining budget of 73.20%, which is slightly above the expected benchmark of 67 remaining after the 4 months. So again, I'm showing you here your year-to-date and your prior year-to-date last year. I can go over those differences if you want to, but the overall difference is $3,262.66 from last year. When you take all the sections out through here. Logistics. And then the next page is expenditures by department. The police department. Police department incurred expenditures of $83,120.59 in January, leaving 61.84% of the department budget remaining. That is lower than the 67% remaining, but again, that's attributed to the annual payments that we've already paid this year and later. Last year. So the year-to-date variance at the end of the first quarter was $21,776.32. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Shannon.
Look pretty good.
Thank you, Shannon. Consent agenda, excuse me, this consent agenda consists of non-controversial housekeeping items required by law. Items may be approved by single motion. Items may be removed from the consent agenda by any council member by making such a request prior to a motion and vote on the consent agenda. Number 1, consider approval of January 20th, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the January 2026 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Public hearings and regular items. Discuss and consider approval of an ordinance amending number 778-24, approving a contract for collecting solid waste between the town and Frontier Texas Venture LLC as an exclusive franchise agreement for residential commercial solid waste collection and recycling services by amending the rates adopted thereby to provide a 2.06 CPI increase for solid waste disposal rate for residential and commercial services pursuant to section 13A of the franchise agreement and amending the contract and providing for an effective date of March 1st, 2026. Staff presentation. Chief Ruth.
Mayor Council, the town has received a formal request from Frontier to increase their rate effective January 2025. Under the agreement, Frontier is allowed to request an annual rate increase based on the consumer price index for urban consumers on each contractual anniversary. Frontier has calculated an increase of 2.06 CPI between the January 2025 and December 2025. Frontier is requesting the increase in solid waste collection rates with a proposed effective date of March 1st, 2026. The consumer price index calculation matrix is attached in the packet. I did some calculations from that on residential rate impact. Currently, the total monthly is $20.71. It would go up, the proposed rate would go up to 21.14, which would be a monthly increase of 43 cents per household. I got to do some corrections on my on my numbers on the commercial impact. You'll notice on the cart for the increase on the commercial cart rate, it was $47.17 to 48.14, which is an increase of 97 cents for those. And on the monthly for the extra cart, instead of 48, it should be 58. So Corey, who is our town sales manager, is here to answer any questions that you may have on that document that's in your packet. Thank you.
Good evening, Council Mayor. Do you have any questions for me?
Thanks for coming forward.
Of course.
I have a question for you, Kurt. When does this contract expire? I think we're just in year one, right?
Yes, it's a 3-year contract.
3-year contract.
Yes, sir.
Good.
And I would just like to throw out some numbers for just fun, because I did some research into any complaints that we had over the last year. And in a 12-month basis, we had 96 recoveries. So recoveries are either A, they were missed on our end, or somebody else didn't put their trash out in time. They called us and said, hey, I didn't get my trash out. Could you pick up extra next week? That's what those recoveries are. That 96 is out of a total of 30,368 drive-bys in a year. So that's 0.32% of being recovered based on the drive-bys that are happening each year as well.
How does that compare to some of your other routes?
Honestly, that's really good. It's considered top tier service if you're under 1%. So being even under 0.5% is really good. This is our baby pretty much here. I mean, I'm good friends with all the supervisors in Justin, so I know they don't ever want to hear from me when service isn't going well. So it's really good, top tier service, truly. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. You have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending ordinance number 778-24, approving the contract rate for collection of solid waste between the town and Frontier Texas Ventures 1 LLC as the exclusive franchise agreement for residential and commercial solid waste collection and recycling services by amending the rates adopted, thereby to provide a 2.06% CPI increase for solid waste disposal rates for residential and commercial services pursuant to section 13, parenthetical A of the franchise agreement and amending the contract and providing an effective date of March 1st, 2026.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Council. Number 2, discuss and consider acceptance of the 2025 racial profiling report. Staff presentation, Chief Reed.
Mayor, Council, state law requires that all Texas law enforcement agencies collect and report motor vehicle stop data annually to both their governing body and to Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. The Bartonville Police Department has completed its 2025 racial profiling analysis and confirms that no racial profiling complaints were filed this year against any officer. Documentation shows that the lieutenant completed all required random audits of officers' activity. These audits revealed no indicators of conduct outside the state law or departmental policies. Attached is a full comprehensive analysis of the 2025 racial profiling data. In 2025, officers conducted 2,241 traffic stops. Of those traffic stops, less than 1% the ethnicity was known. Searches occurred in less than 1% of those stops, and contraband was found in 42% of those stops. I think we had 12 stops, so you had, say, 5, we found contraband. A review of the public safety material, random supervisory audits, and strategic data shows that the department is in full compliance with state law and General Orders Policy 2.2 bias-based policing. Currently, no policies or procedural changes are recommended. I'll be happy to take any questions about our racial profile report that we filed with the state.
Questions?
No questions.
Do you have a motion?
I move that we accept the 2025 racial profile report.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Kathy. Closed session pursuant to the Open Meeting Act, Chapter 5, the County Council will recess into closed executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code pursuant to the following. Number one, section 551.071, and consultation with attorney. Private consultation to seek the advice of the town attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or settlement offer, and to consult with the town attorney on a matter in which the duty of attorney to the governmental body and under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Intergovernmental agreements. Number two, section 551.074, personal matters, to deliberate and consider the duties of public officer, employee, to wit, town administrator, chief of police. Time being 7:28, reconvening in the closed session. Oh.
It's up to you to bid. Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it. Lights are back on.
Okay,
They're pushing it on.
Video's back on.
thank you. Today being 8:18, we're reconvening the, open session again. A few of the goals and objectives we've discussed regarding, the town administrator, the chief's position is to update the Bartonville Code of Ordinances, including legislative revisions, and to review and update personnel and purchasing policies. Do I have a motion?
Now, I think a motion to approve the 2026 goals and objectives as discussed, the town administrator, chief of police, Kirk Rhodes, with the human resources finalizing the list and bringing back to town council for approval.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, council. Future agenda items, are there any items council would like to place on upcoming agenda? Time being 8:19. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.